Alright, it is 9:49 a.m. and this was a very simple pattern. I took it and it worked out. Could have maybe still hold on to this, but it's not that bad now actually, 205 by 295, but I don't like how it just trades with a spread. And when it does stuff like that, I'm just not really that interested in holding it because it could also have a spread and break under the the risk level, and that would be pretty bad. So ILUS just had a nice 20% run up from this 19 level as high as 21.5, and then I saw a drop right here at VWAP, and then there were too many sellers at 21. So I thought, alright, it'd be better if it were to break under VWAP because then it would have more distance from 21, and then maybe it could wipe out all the sellers at 21, which it seems like isn't the case. There's still a lot of sellers at 21, but when it had that drop, I liked how close we were to this round number of 20 cents. So my idea was actually trying to be in at 201, but I wasn't able to get in there. But when the level 2 moved around a little and 202 was at the ask, there was also like a 200k bidder at 20 flats. So I thought, all right, I could try 202 if it drops and we start downtrending, right? And we head back to this 20 level. Ideally, there's going to be a wall of bidders that I could be able to sell into. Is something where I'm in at 202 and I think, all right, if it looks like it's going to downtrend back near the day low, I'll get out. Even if it bounces there, I'll get out if it looks like it's going to break under the day low and there's going to be a wall of bidders. It's not going to be something where I'm in at 202 and it starts to fail and it immediately heads into the 19s quickly. There might be like a little cushion, like something to stop the fall. So that's why I took 1,000 shares. In theory, sure, if I was ballsy, because I was risking 20, right, and I'm in at 202, I could have bought 5,000 shares, right, because then that would be a $10 risk level. In theory, in this one, I didn't buy enough shares actually, but I still took the trade, and this was a quick move in the same minute, 9:48, because it trades with a spread, right? I was in at 202, and then the level 2 lifted up, and then, there was now the bid at 205, and I think I sold, I don't think I sold at 9:48, I think that's when I placed my order, but the level 2 changed, and that 205 was at the bid, and 21 I believe was at the ask, or I guess in this case 20.95, and I thought, all right, I'll sell right at 205 because I don't like how it just jumped up to level 2. I would like it if it would just trade normally and gradually uptrend. The way it does this is just something that makes people chase, really emotional, which I guess is profitable to do something like that, but for me, not so much. But I did sell at 205, and right now it's 206 by 295. So I don't like the seller at 21. I'd probably be out by now if I was still holding this. And it also got to VWAP, which is 205, and I was in at 202. So I was pretty happy with that. I guess what I could have done really was just be sized in a bit more, have more shares to trade according to that $10 risk level, but after I got in, it didn't look like that 200k seller was there anymore at 20, but it could have been possible that if it were to have dropped back to this 20 level, that could have been there, but pretty simple pattern. It's just a dip under VWAP, and I made $3 from that. Best case scenario, should have traded 5,000 shares, and I would have made, $15. DPLS, I actually had a verified canceled. Maybe I would have been filled, but only 500 shares because I'm not really a breakout guy, but it was just having such a nice spike, and I was interested in buying this on a dip. So this might develop later or very shortly, and maybe be something I'd be interested in. It depends, but in the beginning, I was interested in buying like around this 57.5 when it looked like it was gonna break out of it, but it kind of went past it very quickly, and then it came back, and I kind of lost interest in it. Looking at other things, but in theory, a buy at 578 right here could have been kind of nice, risking VWAP at 56, so maybe I would have had less shares because it does trade with a bit of a, spread, not too much. It's not MTRT craziness, and it did make a move from 57 to 61, which is pretty cool. And I had a verified canceled order at 936, 599 right here. 599. I didn't get filled. I immediately canceled the order maybe 10 seconds after I placed it, just because of how sketchy it is. But this one actually did something. And why was I interested in buying it here? Because it was breaking past this level right here at 595. So I was thinking 599 right here. And it did work briefly. Right? It went all the way to 61. And I'm surprised, but with 500 shares, I wouldn't have made anything. Maybe like 15 pennies. I don't know. Probably should have had. Maybe if I just wanted to, trade, maybe have some meat in the game, like 1,000 shares, which is still tiny, but 500 was probably just too small. I'll be looking at DPLS. Not so much interest in ILUS anymore, but I'll watch it. If AABB decides to break this and try to be a 10-cent stock, that might not be so bad. Ideally, it would also get more volume. I'll make an update later, but that's what I'm thinking about right now. Okay, it is 11:01 a.m. and I want to make a quick update as for AABB. Nothing of interest here. It looks like it's trying to break the day low. Maybe if it breaks like a really important support level, it could be interesting, but probably not unless it drops with like a crap ton of volume. No interest with ICOA, although at one point it could have been long at 105, and it did try to go to 109. It's not able to break this 11 level. It tried briefly the other day, as you can see here, and it hasn't really looked that nice since. It's kind of downtrending a little bit, so nothing too clean. As for ILUS, I could have considered like the dip towards VWAP again. This is the trade I took right here. I took a buy at right here, this 22 level, like 20, and then the number 2, not 22, right here. And I sold at 205, which was VWAP, and maybe I could have held on to it a little longer, but I'm very happy that I sold at VWAP. That was, always my goal. If it drops with a lot of volume, maybe I'll be interested in it. It would be like an unideal, panic bounce play because it's not in the morning, but if it has volume, I might consider that. DPLS, this one had a quick turnaround, and, it worked out super nicely. Like, it went from 56 to, 62. That's a lot of range. If I were to have been able to have bought shares here at the turnaround, I was there when this was happening. I did hesitate this one. This one, the way it traded it was a bit iffy, but it did make a nice move. I would have been out at VWAP probably. If I were to have maybe sold half at VWAP, maybe the other half I'd still be holding if it, was holding above it nicely at the time, which it seems like it did. I don't know if I would have sold on this option. I probably would have maybe sold around here with this resistance level. I don't know. That's all hindsight, but that was the one opportunity I could have really have taken here, and then not really too much of an interest here because it's just very volatile. Just bouncing from 60 to 61 and then back to 60, just kind of weird, but this could have been the potential setup. And another one that's uptrending is CYBL. This one is just continuously going. Ideally it can do something nice over a longer period of time, and that can be something I can try, with morning panic bounce plays. I'll be honest, I could have taken HMBL. I could have bought at 16.8, but I didn't have faith in this one because the daily chart is pretty bad. And also because of the fact that, this was resistance here. Uptrends, breaks under the level, and I thought, alright, I buy 16.8, and it might, just be like a head and shoulder, shoulder, head, and then the shoulder, but it's trying to make a move. It's really doing better than what I thought, so really the only setup I could have taken was DPLS right here, but CYBL isn't that bad. It's like HNBL, but with a better chart, a daily chart. This one doesn't really offer something that I would consider a dip buy into, but I'll keep looking. It's 11 a.m. now, so I'm probably going to be doing other stuff, but if something looks exponentially nice, I'm going to have to consider looking at it. That means I might miss a setup from now on towards the close, but, overall, pretty happy with how I try to trade things, and it looks like the OTC market is trying to wake up a little, which would be super nice, and then, there could be more potential setups, and I will also have more confidence to trading in the future. Alright, it is 11:50. I did have an interest here. I was seeing this price action. Not the drop here, but I saw it here and I thought maybe it could have this drop, a little baby bounce, and then it kind of comes back and not break the day low, but get close to it and then turn around. But the volume has not really been that good, and it's been with a spread too, so this might be something I won't trade, but in theory, it could have been something that I could have perhaps tried to get in at like 1911 or something, or 1901. But yeah, this thing's just having a wide spread, as you can see here, but it's looking like it's doing it. And I also didn't like how there were, to me, it felt like too many people had to ask, especially that 300k seller at 19.4. So I'll keep watching, but this might have killed the pattern. Maybe if it downtrended right and then just worked its way up without a spread, I would have been in this, but this is not the case. It's not looking that clean. Alright, it is 5:52 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I finished up $2.99. Actually $3, but Fidelity does charge like a 1 penny commission for a trade, which is so expensive. No, just kidding. So ILUS was a trade that I took, and there was plenty of opportunity really with DPLS. And 948 was my in and out, which was right here. I don't mind it too much. I really wish ILUS didn't trade so much with a spread at times, but this thing made a nice comeback. It even got to 21, right? And I had my sell at 25, which was VWAP, which is fine. And I was interested in it here, the last recording. It didn't have like a little bit of an uptrend. I just never liked the way it did it. It just looked really ugly. And then it broke the day low, as you can see here. We even had the big volume, the thing that I've mentioned a lot. Maybe I could have taken the setup now that it broke the day low, wiped out maybe some of the toxicity sellers on the ask, and they all panic sold into this volume candle. But then it had this little back and forth, which I wouldn't have liked, and then it had this like completely bull crap just turn around right here with, I'm gonna guess they just had the bid right here at 929, and then they just lifted the ask all the way to 1992, and some guy took it or whatever, some bot or market maker, I don't know, whatever, just price action, and then it made an uptrend. So yeah, the way it did that, even if I were to have been in it, I don't know if I would have even have been able to capture all of that move. Nothing with AABB. DPLS had that nice move right there, and nothing really crazy. Maybe the dip under VWAP here after this one, but I don't like the way it was trading it here. Similar to ILUS, it had a bit of a spread, and that's really about it. ICOA actually looks like later in the day did make a breakout over this 11 level finally, but the volume isn't that nice. If it had more volume, it would have been nicer. And HNBL, maybe this thing can uptrend over the next few days. CYBL kept uptrending, but it doesn't really offer dip buy, so I was never a part of this, but this was pretty cool. I wouldn't have bought it here because I would have been scared because, VWAP is right here at 15, and it could totally get there. And, it's kind of like floating above it, which I don't like, but it did uptrend, but that's not really too cool. Definitely a few setups out there. Just one trade with ILUS. I hope I can do better capturing them, but I don't mind my trade at all. I just should have been sized in a lot more. I think maybe 3,000 or 5,000 shares. I can totally work on those things. And yeah, that's all I have for today. I just need to make sure I trade these things that are not morning panic bounce plays with a $10 risk level.